Welcome back to Hypercar Updates, the series where we talk all things hypercar related to that particular month. This series is about discussing the news, rumors, and just general topics floating around the internet that are related to hypercars. And for this episode, we will talk about the info related to Hypercar and GTP from the month of June. On the 5th installment of Hypercar Updates, I will talk about topics such as Proton Competition's update on their Porsche 963, the confirmation of WTR's second Acura entry for the 2024 IMSA season, and news on Ferrari as they achieve another amazing accomplishment to add to their history book. And besides those topics, there is so much more to discuss, so let's get into it. I'll start off by talking about probably the biggest story coming out of the month of June, and that is Ferrari has won the 24 Hours of Le Mans, an amazing accomplishment for the Italian team as they beat 6 other hypercar manufacturers to the overall victory at the centenary event. The 91st edition of the 24 Hours of Le Mans took place on June 10th and 11th of 2023. 62 cars would participate, 16 of them in the top-level category, a record for the hypercar class. Ferrari's 499P was arguably the best car at the 24-hour event, and the Ferrari team secured victory at Le Mans. This became Ferrari's first overall win at Le Mans since 1965, which was 58 years ago. History was made at Le Mans, not just in the form of Ferrari winning Le Mans, but also the first ever hypercar to win a race besides the Toyota GR010. Ferrari's 499P was not the only hypercar doing well at Le Mans. Peugeot's 9X8 hypercar was also running strong and had a very good shot at taking the overall win at Le Mans. Why didn't they? Well, a crash at the Daytona chicane in the night severely affected the 9X8's race, and that number 94 car, which was the entry battling for the race lead, had to go into the pit lane for massive repairs, and when it was back out on track, it was no longer in the fight for the race victory. But up until that crash, it was going really well for the 9X8 hypercar. Peugeot had struggled with that car since its debut last season at the 6 Hours of Monza, but it seemed Peugeot's 9X8 hypercar finally came alive at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. The number 94 car was having a really good race up until that crash. It was in contention for the race victory, had pace compared to the other hypercar manufacturers. Peugeot was pulling off a really good strategy, and the car seemed to have very little reliability issues. I can't say for certain that Peugeot would have won Le Mans if that crash didn't happen, but it for sure was a possibility. That 9X8 hypercar is showing some strong pace and definitely has potential to fight for overall victories in the future. Speaking of French hypercar manufacturers, I have some news on Alpine. Their LMDh has finally been revealed. Alpine will call their car the A424 Beta, and it will start racing in 2024. Alpine is building their prototype entry around the LMDh regulations. Alpine will enter 2 LMDh prototypes in the World Endurance Championship in 2024, and likely will not enter IMSA next year. They will join alongside BMW, Lamborghini, and Isotta Fraschini, who are all joining in 2024, in combination with the 7 manufacturers that are already existing in 2023. The hypercar's powertrain will be a 3.4-liter turbocharged Mechachrome V6, and Alpine will once again partner with Signatech with their 2024 hypercar project. Proton Competition are in the news as well, as they confirmed that they will enter the hypercar class at the 6 Hours of Monza, and they will enter the IMSA GTP class at Road America. The driver lineup has also been officially confirmed. Harry Tincknell and Gian Mario Bruni will be joining the Proton Porsche 963 crew in both IMSA and the WEC. Since hypercar requires 3 drivers, Neil Yanni will be joining these 2 in the Porsche 963 in the WEC. The livery has also been revealed for Proton's 963 Porsche. This livery mainly has the WeatherTech sponsoring on it, showcasing the partnership between WeatherTech and Proton Competition that has existed for the last couple of years. Another cool sponsor that is on Proton Competitions 963 is the sponsorship from FAT International. What's interesting is that this sponsor has actually been on the Porsche liveries in the past. In the 1990s, the FAT International branding was on the number 36 Dauer Porsche 962 that took the victory at the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1994. We need to take a look at the repercussions Hypercar will have on LMP2. A shocking announcement brought light that LMP2 will be axed by the World Endurance Championship at the end of 2023. This is pretty major news considering that LMP2 is a very successful and competitive category. A lot of people have been speculating on why LMP2 was axed by the WEC, and I'm going to show you exactly why. This is arguably because of Hypercar. The class is growing even bigger in 2024, and a lot of the LMP2 teams are switching over to Hypercar to run an entry in that category. I am going to show you this list of all the current LMP2 teams that are racing full-time in the World Endurance Championship. Say LMP2 did continue into 2024. What would the grid look like? Well, let me show you. The Alpines would be gone from LMP2 because Alpine is switching to Hypercar to run the A424 Beta. The WRT cars would also disappear as the Belgian squad is moving to Hypercar as well to run BMW's LMDh. There's even a possibility that the number 28 Jota Sport will also move to Hypercar to join the 38, as Jota are looking to add a second entry in 2024. Prima, in combination with Iron Lynx, is switching over to Hypercar to run Lamborghini's full-time WEC entry. And finally, Vector Sport will also move, as they will run Isotta Fraschini's Le Mans Hypercar in 2024. Take a look at the grid now. The only cars that would be left would be the number 34 Inter Europol, the 2 United cars, the number 9 Prima, and potentially the number 28 Jota. But that's only if Jota Sport do not run a second Porsche in Hypercar next year. So the WEC has no choice but to remove the category, as it would have very limited attendance. The good news is LMP2 cars will be at Le Mans, as a lot of teams already enter one-off entries for the big 24-hour event. Okay, this is pretty exciting news coming up, and I hope it indeed happens. The Aston Martin Valkyrie AMR Pro may, after all, be heading to the 24 Hours of Le Mans, Hypercar, and IMSA GTP. Now, as we know, Aston Martin originally signed up to enter the Hypercar class, likely with Toyota in 2021, but that fell through when Aston Martin decided to join Formula One instead. If you want to know what happened to Aston Martin's Le Mans Hypercar project, I made a video that details all of that info. I'll put a link in the top right corner to it and in the description as well. But the fact is, the potential possibility of the Valkyrie heading to Hypercar and GTP might be back in the news again, and this is because of an article put out by Daily Sports Car. The article claims that this project could be revived by a privately funded program, and possibly the Valkyrie could make its debut in 2025 at the earliest. Another really cool part about this project is if the Valkyrie ends up going to the Hypercar class or GTP class, the privately funded program will likely have the 6.5 liter V12 in the car, meaning we will finally get our first ever V12 Hypercar on the grid. The article also states that a potential two-car effort for the WEC could take place, and an additional program in IMSA. Now, of course, this is not official at this point, it's just a rumor going around, but this does look promising. What do you think of the Valkyrie heading to the Hypercar class or GTP class? Do you think that Aston Martin will finally head over to these categories? Speaking of more entries, let's talk about Cadillac. There's potential for a second V-Series R full-time entry in the World Endurance Championship in 2024. This would mean that the blue Cadillac would have some company in the WEC. As for IMSA, there is potential for a third Cadillac V-Series R to race full-time in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, but at the moment, there is nothing confirmed. The most likely possibility of a third IMSA Cadillac would come in the form of a second Action Express car. Kinda like the number 48 Alley Cadillac that raced back in the DPI era. Unfortunately though, the rumors on that entry returning have gone quiet. Continuing the topic of more entries next year, while Cadillac's second WEC entry is just rumored, Acura's has now been officially confirmed to be happening. That's right, for the first time ever, Wayne Taylor Racing will have a second full-time Acura on the IMSA grid. With Andretti Autosport's help continuing into 2024, Wayne Taylor Racing will have a second ARX 06 on the IMSA grid. This does mean there will be a total of 3 full-time Acuras on the IMSA GTP grid in 2024. These entries being the number 60 MSR Acura, the number 10 Konica Minolta WTR Acura, and now the second WTR Acura. Meanwhile, in the world of Le Mans Hypercar, a Ferrari 499P was testing at the Red Bull Ring earlier this month. This was not one of the factory WEC Ferraris, as the 50 and 51 were both at the Le Mans weekend while this was supposedly happening in Austria. Now, in my opinion, there could be 2 possibilities for this car being in Austria. Number 1 is this could just be Ferrari and AF Corsa doing some testing. I've overheard that it had Pirelli tires on instead of Michelin's, so it could just be a tire test as well. The other possibility was that it was brought by a privately run organization that I'm sure Ferrari is aware of to test before they announced a customer entry of the Ferrari 499P. Now, if this was true, this could be one of 2 things. This could be a WEC customer entry to join the other 2 factory 499Ps, or this could be a team trying to get into the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. The Ferrari 499P is eligible to race in the GTP class, and there have been rumors that Risi Competizione is trying to get into GTP for 2024. Either way, the fact of the matter is there was a Ferrari 499P testing out on track at Austria, and it was indeed a third car because the 50 and 51 were at Le Mans. Was this AF Corsa and Ferrari testing some stuff out, or was this a customer team getting ready for a 2024 campaign? Our final piece of news is that BMW is getting ready for the 2024 World Endurance Championship. BMW's M Hybrid V8 made its debut at the Rolex 24 in 2023. It currently races in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, but won't make its debut in the World Endurance Championship until next year in 2024. And we know that the M Hybrid V8 is a fast car. Just look at what they did at Watkins Glen. They took the fight to Acura, Cadillac, and Porsche and won the event. Belgian squad WRT Racing will be tasked with bringing the BMW M Hybrid V8 to victory lane in the World Endurance Championship. WRT has finally received their M Hybrid V8 from BMW, and recently took to the Aragon circuit to perform some testing. So finally they got their first car and were able to test it. And they are expected to have 2 full-time M Hybrid V8s racing in the World Endurance Championship. There's also a possibility for a third BMW to appear at Le Mans in 2024, and that could very well be the IMSA variants of BMW's LMDh prototypes from RLL. So that officially completes episode 5 of Hypercar Updates from the month of June in 2023. Which topic interested you the most? Let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section. If you are interested in endurance racing, this is the channel to subscribe to. If you'd like to see more content on IMSA and the WEC, make sure to subscribe to the left. If you want to see another video right now, I suggest clicking one of the options to the right of your screen. So that's it for me. I'll see you in the next video.